Welcome back to episode 9 of Some Kind of Fun. And once again, we're about to have some kind of fun because we're joined with my pal, Jon Clifford, owner proprietor of Hi-Fi Hair, one of the coolest record stores in town, hairstylist to the stars. How are you today, Jon?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, really a pleasure to
I
have
love you,
you.
man.
So, Jon, tell me how this all started. This coming back to Minnesota, the hi-fi hair. You're in Michigan. You're cutting hair. You're essentially Warren Beatty. And then,
Well, I grew up here
yeah,
and got my education here. Cut my music education here, as far as all of that as well. Cut my teeth there, and I moved away in '89 to Michigan, and was there for about 15 years. I think it was about 15 years.
yeah,
But I would come back here all the time, like periodically. I don't know, 3 or 4 times a year I would come back based on whatever shows that I would see in the Reader or the City Pages, because I would have those sent to my house in Michigan
nice.
so I could keep up with what was going on. So I could try to at least plan trips around seeing shows when I
Sure.
came back here. But when I would come back, in the '90s, that was kind of the height of the Loring Bar and all of that, and that was always kind of a stop whenever I would be back, and of course I'd walk around the block and I'd be looking at the buildings and thinking, when I move back here, this is where I should do something. I mean, it just always seemed the right place to do something like that. So, I did come back, and and it was so great to be back home again. You don't know what you had until you don't have it. And as great of friends as I made in Michigan, perfectly good life and all of that. What they didn't have is a music scene. They had some music, they had some bars that would have live bands. Every once in a while, people would come through. I saw Zuzu's Pedals one time when they came
Okay,
through,
cool.
you know. Um, saw the Replacements on their last tour when they came through Kalamazoo, stuff like that. But it was sort of, it was hard. You had to search for it. And I'd have to drive to Chicago or Detroit if I wanted to see most what I would consider like interesting touring bands.
Sure.
So, um, so yeah, you don't know what you have until you don't have it anymore.
So, Jon, you kind of have a bifurcated business. You have the hair salon on one side and the record store on the other side. Is it tough to try and balance the two out?
Not really. I mean, it would be uh, it would be had I not started the record side under the tutelage of John Cass and Terry Katzman, and then bringing Steve McClellan in. Had I not had that as a foundation
Sure.
and been able to learn from all three of those, it'd be impossible.
Yeah.
And but uh, I guess I've over the years I've sort of learned that you know the room that I've created is it's sort of like a daily house party, where you know people come in and out. Sometimes they're coming in to record shop. Sometimes they're coming in to get hair service. Sometimes they're just coming in to hang out, and all three just sort of meld together. And it's one of those things. We live in Minnesota, so everybody's really Minnesota nice, and they come walking in, and if they're just kind of coming to hang out or something or to check the place out,
Right.
they're always like, I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt. I don't want to. And what I don't think people realize is that it's impossible to interrupt in that room. You know, you can't interrupt anything because as soon as you walk into that room, you're part of it, and
Yeah.
it and that's kind of how I like it. You know, I want interruption is great. That's what life should be. It should be one big interruption. You know,
Well, your hospitality is well known, appreciated, and we all do love coming and hanging out. Our clubhouse used to be Orfolk Jokopus.
yeah. Well, exactly, exactly. And you know that we grew up in a time when there were hangouts, there were places we
Right.
could go. And we've all become very insular with the advent of the internet and all of that and shopping malls or whatever. And then it got even worse, you know, over COVID and lockdown and blah 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 and all that. So people things became very insular, and and it I like having places that you know are a welcome sort of hangout. You know, I like community tables. I like, you know, I don't know. I like sharing spaces,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, and you brought up an interesting segue for me here.
Oh, okay.
Which, thank you. So you had done shows prior to the plague descending upon us.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
the suburbs out on the
Yeah,
loading dock
yep.
was one of the all-time great shows.
And that was a hell of a lot of fun.
But then COVID came and everything shut down. And you started having shows that brought us in the scene all back together again. Can you tell me kind of the genesis of that and the lowdown on the hi-fi hair shows?
It was horrible. We were all, you know, we're at home. And the only thing that saved us, actually, the only thing that saved us was we had a beautiful spring that year. And we
Yeah.
really had a beautiful summer. And so the only thing that saved us was that we could be outside, you
Yep.
know? And I mean, imagine had that shit happened, you know, if it began in late October instead of, you know, the shutdown happening in March. But it didn't. It happened in the summer. But, you know, so we went through the summer and we, you know, as crazy as we were going, as evidenced by videos that I was doing every day, I was kind of getting weirder, and maybe a little sometimes shaky in the head at times. So by the time the summer started to wane down a little bit, I was freaking out because
Yeah.
we still couldn't go to clubs. We still couldn't do anything. We still couldn't, you know, places weren't open yet. And I'm like, all right, this is it. We're just gonna do this. We're just gonna do it. And so we did. We, you know, I think the first one that year was Faith Boblet,
Yeah.
Faith Boblet and Mae Simpson, and the Get Together Band. And good Lord, it was fun.
Yes.
And it was great because, you know, and we were all, you know, everyone was always, you know, I don't know, are we going to be safe? Is everybody going to stay apart? Are they going to have masks? Are they going to have respirators? Is there going to be an EMT team? Or are we going to be, is everything going to be okay? And I just thought, you know what? The people we know are going to do it right. And they're just going to be decent human beings. And they proved me right.
Yeah.
And everyone showed up, and everyone was wearing masks, and everybody kind of, you know, they kept their distance, you know, they kept within the person that they came with, but then they'd still talk, and they'd still have, you know, but they kept their distance, they were being great. And I mean, honestly, and there's been so many memorable shows back there, but that particular one, just I was in tears,
Yeah.
just because it finally we had something.
It was
Finally
such a relief.
we had music. You know, it was like rains after a 20-year drought or something like that. You
Yeah.
know? And it was magic.
Yeah. So, John, during the pandemic, you gave us a daily video emphasizing that there's light beyond darkness. Where did that come from, and how did you get going with it?
Um, I did a thing right after, like right after a shutdown or something like that. Just like a mime, something, whatever, of me cutting someone's hair who was not sitting in my chair. Just, right? Just empty chair and me just cutting hair. Because I did literally, I sat in my shop on the floor, in the middle of the floor on the last Saturday, and this is before they announced a shutdown.
Yeah.
But that last Saturday, I had spent the past 3 days without one phone call, zero, right? And like no one was calling in to make an appointment, right?
Yeah.
And 3 whole days, not one. And at the end of my day on that Saturday, I just thought, oh my God, what the hell is going to happen? And I remember making some sort of a social media post saying something to the effect of, this might have been my last busy day for a long time, whatever. And then sure enough, that
Yeah.
that following day, I think it was, the announcement came that everything was going to be shut down. And so I made this mime video.
Mm-hmm.
And, because I came in that following morning, even though we were going to be shut down, and blah, blah, and I came in, and I'm sitting around in this room that I've built and I've curated and I've coddled and, all of that. And it was scary as hell. I don't know. It was scary as hell. And I didn't know what else to do. So I did that. So I did that dumb video. And, and then it sort of, then things start happening, right? Like, the insane, like, we're out of toilet paper. Oh my God, go to the store. And people are buying up cases of toilet paper, and people are buying up all the handy wipes, and people are buying up all the blah, blah, blah. And you couldn't find anything and whatever. So then it becomes comical, kind of.
Yeah.
I mean, so then I just started kind of making, some parody sort of things a little bit, because it kept me busy,
Yeah.
whatever. And
the message was always, there's light beyond the darkness.
yeah.
So the last show of the 2023 Hi-Fi Hair season is this coming Sunday. The show will be the same day that this airs. But tell us about that show, and hopefully we can promote it the week before and make sure it's well attended.
We've got Jailbreak playing that's Jailbreak exclamation point. Jailbreak. Playing at 2:00.
Okay.
We have Katie Vernon's new band that she has been dreaming of for quite some time and putting together and procuring. It's their debut by happenstance. They were supposed to have a debut this last week, but it got canceled due to weather. Favorite Girl is the name of her new band.
Jenny Case,
Jenny
lead
Case.
guitar, I believe.
Yes,
That'll
yes.
be good.
Followed by the Belfast Cowboys.
Yeah, talk about your Vegas send-off.
And they are going to be playing at 4 o'clock.
Nice.
And so until whenever they feel like quitting.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for being my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do around here. Really appreciate it, John. Thank
Fucking
you.
love you, Paul.
Yeah.